I used to believe spirituality was somewhere above us, in higher dimensions, in higher knowledge, in some distant place we were supposed to reach. But today, I feel the deepest spirituality is much closer than that. It is under our feet, in the soil. For many years, my attention was always direct upward. I studied astrology deeply. And before that, I read a great deal of esoteric philosophy and even astrophysics. My mind was always searching the sky, trying to understand the universe, the hidden forces behind life, the invisible structures behind reality. There is beauty in that search. It expands the mind and awakens curiosity. But something in me has changed over the years. Now when I think about spirituality, my attention moves downward to the ground, to the soil beneath my feet. Early today, I was outside with the animals. The chickens were scratching the earth in their quiet, determined way. The ducks, they were walking around the yard, discussing something very serious in their own duck language. My dog Marilyn, she was laying in the sun, watching everything with complete peace. While I stood there, observing them, a very simple realization came to me. Perhaps the greatest spirituality is not somewhere far away. Perhaps it is here, in creation itself, in the miracle that a tiny seed placed in the soil becomes a plant. That plant becomes food. Sometimes it becomes a tree that gives fruits for many years. From something so small and almost invisible, life unfolds into nourishment, beauty, and continuation. So when you witness this again and again, it begins to feel like you are looking directly at the mystery of creation. Some people call that mystery God. Some call it Jesus, Buddha, or simply nature, Mother Gaia herself. But whatever name we give it, the presence behind life is visible everywhere in these small transformations. You do not have to leave the earth to find it. You can see it in the garden, in the rhythm of animals living their lives, in that quiet generosity of the land that continues to give. I remember the first time one of my chickens laid an egg, my first egg. It might sound like a very small thing, but for me it felt almost surreal. When I opened the nesting box, and there it was, one single egg. My first egg. After weeks of preparing the coop, caring for the chickens, feeding them, protecting them, waiting without really knowing when it would happen. And there you go, suddenly, there it was. A small, warm proof that life has responded. In that moment, I felt something very simple and very deep at the same time. All the effort, all the care, all the patience, it was worth it. Just one egg was enough. That moment changed the way I understand abundance. Because for most of our lives, we are taught that abundance means something else entirely. Career success, more money, more achievement, a constant movement upward. But that path often takes us further away from the very world that sustains us, further away from the soils, the seasons, the animals, and these quiet miracles that happen every day around us. Living close to the land reveals a very different kind of abundance. Yes, there are fresh eggs from the chickens, vegetable growing in the garden, fruit from a tree that once began as a tiny seed in the ground. Even that alone feels extraordinary. But there is something deeper than the food itself. There is a sense of participation in creation, a feeling of being part of the living world instead of standing outside of it. And perhaps this is part of the meaning of being human. To walk on this earth, to care for it, to witness the miracle of life continuing through seasons, seeds, animals, and soil, to enjoy the abundance that creation offers, not the abundance that must be chased endlessly, but the abundance that is already here when we slow down enough to see it. Maybe spirituality begins in that moment. The moment when we look at the ordinary world around us and realize that nothing about it's ordinary at all. So today, I leave you with a few thoughts to sit with. When was the last time you watched something grow from a seed? When was the last time you noticed the small living things sharing the world with us? And what might change in your life if spirituality was no longer somewhere far away, but something quietly waiting in the soil beneath your feet? from my heart to yours. Genevieve.